Oh, hello. I'm Rebecca. It's nice to see you out there in the world. To answer a question that literally nobody is asking me, where where does the magic of your brain take place? Where do you come up with such great ideas as a writer and a teacher? I've decided I'm going to give you a little tour of my workspace, my study, and tell you a little bit about the stuff in it in an invitation to have you do a tiny little video or pictures of your workspace and the cool stuff that you've got, that you've made or that you put on the walls for inspiration. Or all of those other great things that you do. Incidentally, this this mug that I'm drinking out of is an Untitled Town, which is the book and author festival I co-organized mug from last year. This is Mike Morici. You should buy his books. He's really great. Sci-fi writer, comics, you'd really enjoy it. To really tell the story of my study, we need to start with this guy. Oh, Rocco. This is Rocco, my kitty. And he loves it in here, as does my other kitty, who is down here, Cassiopeia. She's down there. You might hear her making weird sounds occasionally in this video. Mainly they're waiting for me to stop talking and to give them food, but they're really good companions here in the study. So I'm lucky enough to have a full room for my workspace. And I'm just going to give you a quick little tour of all the kind of zones that are in here, and maybe some stuff that pops out along the way, to give you a sense of, I don't know, why I surround myself with this stuff and what some of it means to me, and hopes you'll share some of this stuff with me. So we're going to start with this corner. I'm working on a big novel right now. I've written two books, and both of them were short story driven. So right now I am writing a big, huge novel set against the backdrop of the 1871 Peshtigo fire, which is also more famously known as the Chicago fire. In Peshtigo, it killed 2,000 people and is not really well known outside the state. So this is a big, sprawling, operatic saga of families and societies and connections. And so in order to do that, figure that all out, it's based on real people and people I'm inventing, I got some chalkboard paint and painted this door, which is, look how cute that is. And then also sort of a board that I had, and then mapped out all these relationships. So up at the top here, there's a real town named Williamsonville, and I've made up people, but also the real people that were there and all of their relationships. And then this is like Peshtigo. You can see, shout out Deb Anderson. I named a character after you because you were so helpful. Deb Anderson is our archivist and like one of the best people ever. And that character is very loved, Deb, just to let you know. And then over here is kind of like the Peshtigo Company, which is a big lumber company. Anyway, so this is the space for that. And then I'm going to move you over here for a sec. To deal with one particularly thorny section of the novel, which is section 2, leading up to the fire the month of September, I tried very manically to map out like what this looked like day by day, like September 1 through 3rd. And anyway, this has kind of gone to hell, but this was the idea, was to try to figure out how a lot of these things map out. Now, this makes sense to nobody but myself. The thing that makes my work the easiest is looking at this actual calendar from 1871 and figuring out like what I'll have to do in terms of chapters and the relationships between my characters as we move through that time. My study has a few bookshelves, just 2, and plenty of books on the floor because I'm super terrible at finding space for books, not buying books, and caring about messes. Shout out to former students who I strategically placed your books right there. Not Dennis Johnson, but like these guys right here. So this is a bookshelf filled with all kinds of significance of things in my life. I like to just zoom in on a few. I was a Cheshire cat in 6th grade. This was the smile that I painted for myself in a play, not just like in real life. I was a Cheshire cat. The best bear ever made in a 4th grade art class. Thank you very much. It's pretty. Pictures, significance, beads I used to make. I used to do all kinds of craft stuff. Buy this book. This author is fabulous. Also my husband. And other kinds of stuff here as well. Just sort of knickknacks things. This was the bouquet I carried in my elopement. Just stuff that reminds us who we are, me, who I am, not you. Why would they remind you of you? Moving along the walls here, we have like stuff that inspires me. Also, I will admit, a shrine to my first book, actually sort of a 2-wall shrine, so that I'm reminded that I can do stuff and that it works out, and like the things happen and they're great and they make me proud and other people proud. My first book was called Let's Do. This is the actual poster from my first reading that I ever gave from it at my publishers at University of North Texas. And what's great is later, this is the cover, later one of my writer friends decided to turn to art and reinterpreted the cover here, and this might be my favorite thing almost ever. So she reinterpreted Let's Do. You can see in a different way. Also, I have a print from Kurt Vonnegut and a yarn painting that I got in Arizona on a trip with my mom that is called The Goddess of the Blue Corn, and I just love it so much. So that's all that stuff right there. Bookshelf number 2 is also filled with books and important artifacts. At the top, though, I want to draw your attention to a couple of things. Had these little guys when I was a little kid, R2-D2. If you push his little red button, he makes a squeaky sound. Snoopy up there representing all these things my kids got me. And then again, look what I found at a bookstore. Isn't that just the coolest? These 2 editions. There's my King Kong book end as well. But anyway, all kinds of stuff that makes me happy and fills me with good memories so that I have a rich, warm place to write. All of these Vintage Mad magazine books. And then this deer skull was found on my dad's property in the Ozarks. I want to mention we did not do anything to turn that deer head into a skull, and we found it like that, just for the record, in any case. So more books and stuff. One of my happiest things that I bought lately is the standing whiteboard, which I didn't know I needed it, and then it's like my favorite thing maybe ever. And it just makes me happy. Anyway, it's set right now because in like this mode of me filming things, because I am trying to transition, as many of you are, my classes to an online setting. So here's what I'm working on right now, which is my syllabus for my Workshop of Fire, my upper level undergraduate workshop, and trying to figure out how we're going to do a pandemic revision of that. Out the window here, you can see my view, which is awesome. There's this big roof, which is our family room, and then that's where my mom lives over there in that addition. But what I get to look out at is my backyard. Earlier today, there were 5 deer running through there. I wish I could have filmed at that time, and then you would have been like, ooh, nature, very cool. And other sorts of stuff like that. Really good view. When I acquired this room, which I did from my older daughter, when she was a baby, we kicked her out and gave me a study. I really wanted like powerful women represented, so I had this curtain made of Frida Kahlo, which made me really happy. And so there's all kinds of stuff that just sort of reminds me of power and creativity and all this good stuff as well. There's my desk chair. My mom got me this. I can't afford to get a nice chair like that, so that's my desk chair from my mother. You can see stuff people have given me. I made that. Hooray, woo. But one of my former students made this really nice thing, this particular thing, which is really great. Over here, a friend gave me this bluebird, and then I just want to point out my friend Kelly made this Jerry Garcia necklace, which is the coolest thing ever. Jerry Garcia being the former singer of the Grateful Dead. So that's pretty cool. There is no rhyme or reason to all the books that are on my shelf or on the desk. I have no idea what all those are. I just put them there to keep them off the floor. And I took a few out strategically in case I had to do video for my students. That seemed a little weird to have on my desk. Maybe I'll show you that in a deep cut. Okay, finally, right here, this was a response to one of the stories in my first book, the title story, which is about a woman who loses a lot of pregnancies and even has a stillbirth, and it's a super bummer. Not based on my life, but short story about that. And so one of my colleagues had students do a creative response. One student, when she taught it, the book in her class, one student did a quilt. And so I was like, I need to buy that. And this quilt is made of, this is a woman, and all of these are baby pictures. And then the woman's getting, thinking she's not going to be married anymore. So there's the ring. And it's just so amazing to have someone respond to something like that you created with their own really deep reaction. That's just awesome and gorgeous and cool. So anyway, thanks for joining me on this little tour. I hope you will post a video of your own workspace so that we can get a tour too and understand what your life is like and how you work and all the stuff that you hold very dear. I miss all of you that I normally get to see, and I hope everyone's doing okay out there. See ya.